Hello. How are you? The nights are drawing in, there's a chill in the air. I would say chestnuts are roasting on an open fire, but if you've ever walked across Westminster Bridge, you'll know that's a year-round thing. And I've made something of a loose tradition of beginning the end of a year with a little sort of cozy catch-up, a roundup of everything that's gone on with me in the past year. So pop the kettle on. As always, I've asked Instagram what they're most curious to know about at the moment, and I've grouped them up into little categories that we'll tackle each in turn. Usually, the most prescient one is people asking how I am. How are you really, they want to know. This year was different. I have a cat now. This is Penny. Penny! Penny! I don't know if that's her name. She doesn't answer to it. She's over there. This is you. Penny! Penny! Oi! Doesn't give a shit. I say I have a cat. Penny explicitly belongs to her indoors. It was important to set up custody rights from the off, because you never know, do you? So, it's important to play it safe. So this cat is hers. We were on a date night and we walked past the cat cafe in Westfield. And we do this a lot, right? This is quite often. Oh, should we go and look at the cats in the window? That's cute, let's do that. Except this time, when we got to the window, we saw this face. And long story short, she couldn't stop thinking about her, made some enquiries, and I was going, yeah, just inquire. Like, there's no harm in inquiring, thinking, this is never gonna happen. The next thing I know, I get a text saying, okay, so they're coming to appraise the flat. And I go, okay, sure. They might say no. And then they come over and they're like, yeah, this is a great home for this cat. So then I'm like, okay, shall we have a conversation? And her indoors goes, can I go first? And that's when I knew we were getting a cat. She was previously named Lena, but we didn't feel that name suited her very well. Her tongue sticks out all the time because she was very badly treated when she was a kitten. Half of her jaw had to be removed, and she is blind in one eye from a separate injury. So we're very happy that she seems to be quite thrilled to be in this home. That makes me pleased. Penny enjoys sitting at the windowsill and watching the pigeons out the back. There's also some traffic through the trees. I think she enjoys that too. She has abundant toys that we've bought her. There's a tower for her to climb, scratching posts. She doesn't like any of them. Instead, she wants to scratch my couch and play with a cork she found underneath it. But her favourite activity is yelling at 6:30 in the morning because she's bored and hungry. And while I can relate to that, I could really do with her being quiet because I don't sleep very well. I've read that cats are most active at dusk and at dawn, which is ironic because that is the exact opposite of Dan. People love to ask this question, journalists especially. They love to do fluff pieces on YouTubers and be like, so, how much money do you make? First of all, very nosy coming after my personal data like that. If only there was a way I could take control of it. Oh wait, there is, thanks to this week's sponsor, Incogni. So, I'm of a generation that has basically grown up on the internet, right? I remember the pre-internet days, would you believe? I remember dial-up, broadband, the future, wireless, the entire internet revolution. And it has been a joyous thing, but that means there is a lot of my personal data floating around. Names, phone numbers, email addresses, physical addresses, even down to interests and hobbies and shopping habits. It's all out there for people to take advantage of. And unfortunately, there are people out there who will look to take advantage of that to buy and sell that sort of information for all sorts, scams, harassments, all the worst kind of things. But this is where Incogni comes in, because when you create an account and grant them permission to operate on your behalf, they can get to work taking back your data from these horrid data brokers. And on top of their automatic process, they now have a custom removals feature on their unlimited plans. So you can highlight the specific sites you want to see your data expunged from, any opportunity to use that word, and they'll get right on it because they can't harm you if they can't find you. So use my code DanielJ at the link in the description for 60% off an annual plan, and there's a 30-day money-back guarantee if you fancy just having a check to see what Incogni can do for you. Just see what I did there? We love a natural segue. Anyway, I understand why people ask this question because I feel like it's been a thing since the dawn of YouTubers being a topic that we can talk about, that how they pertain to income. It's a natural question, but I do find it kind of invasive, and I think that might be because the discourse around YouTuber income and my experience of a career as a YouTuber are vastly different. And maybe there's a whole other video to be made in that, but I kind of like, I've got an analogy for you, stay with me. Like with any career, let's take footballers for example, there are different levels of income for different levels of footballers, right? So you might have a Premier League footballer making loads of money, and then non-league footballers or lower league footballers making considerably less money, and often some of those are only part-time footballers. But you hear the word footballer and you instantly think of like shiny cars, latest fashion, beige Christmas, you know? So the parallel for me is, for every YouTuber who does have that lavish YouTube money lifestyle, there are so many who just don't. And don't get me wrong, I've been very lucky and I have had lots of opportunities, and I would consider myself to have been paid well for those opportunities. But if I broke it down and compared it to what a lot of the discourse around other YouTubers who are my contemporaries may or may not have made, you'd probably see those, and some of you would be like, "Ah, Dan, you were being taken for a ride, mate. Where was the hustle?" But honestly, I'm not good at the hustle. I've never been good at it. What I am good at is living above my means, which is very easy to do in London. And then getting insecure about the fact that if I don't project an image of myself as a YouTuber, as what people expect a YouTuber to be, then is anyone going to take me seriously? Are people going to want to subscribe to the idea of who I am? And that really took over me over the past 5 or 6 years. And that's not real. And I really didn't intend for it to come back to this time-honored catchphrase, but if it's not real, it's not right. It doesn't feel authentic to me. And I built my entire sort of career on the fact that I am who I say I am. Do you know? I always joked that your mediated persona is you, but with the volume turned up. And I don't think I turned the volume up that much. So with that said, I've started the process of recalibrating what it is I do as a creator and as a person. And I'm sure we'll get into that another day, because I'm still in the process of figuring out what it looks like. But a part of it is that I have taken a Christmas temp job. I'm working, for those of you who've been here for a while, you'll be thrilled to hear, I'm back in the fold at Waterstones. When I left in 2017, I really felt like I was on the cusp of reaching a new level of my career. And in some ways I really did, but in others I didn't. And there are a bunch of reasons for that. Let's just say being an emotional sponge combined with a lemon and herb type of personal trauma from the past. It's a recipe for burnout, but now that I've gone through the genuinely life-changing experience of having gone to Mount View, I'm really ready to reset and start my life again. I saw a thing the other day about like applying GPS theory to your life, and if you put in your destination into a GPS and you miss a turn, the GPS doesn't judge you for that, it just recalibrates your route. And I love that, and that should be the way we live our lives. Maybe in the past I took a wrong turn somewhere, and I should be a little bit kinder to myself and not go, I regret that I did that. Instead, I should go, okay, just recalibrate the route. So taking a step back and working in the bookshop, even if it's only for a Christmas period, it feels really nice, because it's like I'm going back to a checkpoint in my life and allowing myself the opportunity to find a bit of stability and structure that it turns out I really need in my life. And I can refocus and start supporting myself emotionally and financially. And with all that said, let's take another look at the destination. What's really nice is that in the past couple of catch-up videos, there's always been a segment where I've talked about still wanting to be an actor and maybe going back to drama school and train. And lads, I've gone and done it. In 2020, in that first lockdown, I had just turned 30. My life sort of blew up a little bit. I was feeling so upset and so angry about so many things, and I kept wandering around and saying to myself, I'm 30 and I've achieved nothing. So one day I decided I wasn't having it anymore. I was gonna prove to that voice in my head that actually, yes, I have done something. So I took 2 pieces of paper, and one of them I wrote down everything that I'd achieved so far. I went pretty granular with it, because I put things on there like 90,000 subscribers, or I interviewed John Cena, but I also put things on there like I moved to London. And I wrote down every credit I had, whether that be a music video, a short film, right the way back to like school musicals, so that when that voice in my head was telling me I was being a fantasist and I wasn't really a performer, I had empirical evidence and I could say, actually, here are all the things I've done. And then on the second piece of paper, I wrote things that I could do if I wanted to. And I went in a ton of directions. Obviously actor was on there, but script doctor was on there, because I think I'm really good at helping other people fine-tune and elevate their visions, more so than I am for idea generation on my own, maybe. Be a studio exec was on there, because I thought, well, if I don't get to be on screen, it would be really fun to be someone who gets to greenlight projects. And then I worked back from those job titles and I thought, okay, if I want to be a studio exec, how do I get there? What's the path that I take from where I'm at right now to, in 20, 30 years time, being a studio executive? And one of them was to go to drama school and retrain. And I remember a conversation I had with Sammy on the phone where I said that if I started a 3-year program, I remember I was looking at Yale specifically, so it was a 3-year program, and if I started that in the next couple of years, I would finish at 35, and that's really young. And sure enough, I graduated in November from a master's degree training program in musical theatre at the age of 35. Doesn't the universe work in funny ways? And now I'm in the real world, and I'm gonna be a little bit cagey. I know everyone is so supportive and giving me so much goodwill and so much excitement, and you're really kind and you wanna see me do X, Y, and Z, and you can't wait to be in my audience for my debut or whatever. But I think I already feel such a sense of internal pressure, like this has to work, that I don't want my journey to my first credit to become like my brand and what I make videos about. Because I vlog my life and we talk like this, obviously that will be a part of the stuff that I make, and it truly means the world to know that I have people out there who are supporting me and sending me good energy, and I will take all that I can get. But I think just to protect my own peace, not making the journey to my first role become my thing, I think is important for me. But I have had a few self-tapes come through, and I've been submitted for loads of different roles, and I've seen what they are, and it's fascinating to say, oh my god, I was submitted by my agent for this role. Wild. Signing with an agent is a thing that I forgot to mention. I've done that. I was signed in October. Thrilled. Maybe that's another video. There's so many things that I feel like I would be more than happy to talk about, but I just want to get going before I do. I've only had one callback so far, but I managed to get so far through the process. I think there were like 4 stages of the process before I was cut, and that was at the final hurdle. But I felt really good about it because going to the audition, going through the whole process, knowing what it felt like, building a little routine, a little ritual for myself, and see that actually it did put me in a really good mindset, so that when I went in, I know that I did the things I do well, really well, and the things that I don't necessarily feel the most confident in, I gave them a really good go, and I got really far in the process, and that is such a massive win. And it was really affirming. I was so proud of how well I did on my very first tape, and I know that the things that I struggled with, I can keep working on them, and I am still working. So I'm going to dance classes. I've managed to go to at least 1 a month. I'd like to up that number. I've been working on my voice. I've been seeing a lot of theatre because I think I learned so much about technique from watching other people work. I think right now it feels like I am at the bottom of a mountain, and it's a really interesting place to be after having had such an affirming year, and that feeling of, yes, oh my god, this is my purpose, I'm supposed to be doing this, and going through all of that experience and beginning the training and pushing through the hard parts of the training and then employing everything that we've learned by doing head over heels. And it was such a journey of a year, and I've completed it, and now I'm right back at the beginning again. And so I'm closer to achieving my dreams than I've ever been in my life. Like, suddenly auditioning for Fiero doesn't seem a million miles away. But at the same time, here I am at the bottom of this mountain, and I need to get my first couple of credits under my belt so I can start climbing it and show casting directors that they can trust me. And those are going to be the hardest ones to get, and that's fine. I will work on it. And sometimes I do feel a sense of urgency and a kind of a real awareness of the passing of time, because I am that little bit older, and every year a new wave of shiny young twinks are gonna burst their way through the doors. And apparently networking is a really important part of this industry, and I famously suck at networking. I can't even arrange a coffee with my real life friends for fear of being a bother, let alone industry professionals. But also, my entire attitude to success has completely changed. It used to be, I think in one of my past catch-up videos I said that I wanted to be a screen actor because I love screen, and with that came the idea of I want to be a success, I want to see my name above the title, I want to win an Oscar and all the rest of it. And now, I just want to work. Obviously I've got goals and I've got dreams, and I'd love to be on the West End, I'd love to be a principal character, but more than anything, I just want to be someone who wakes up in the morning and says, I'm off to work, and what I mean by that is I'm going to the theatre. Big mountain, very scared, constant anxiety, but I've worked so hard to get to the foot of the mountain, I ain't stopping now. I'm not going home yet. So that brings us to how are you really? And the answer is, uncertain. I have long been someone who gets buyer's remorse. I'm like, oh, have I made the right choice? Am I going in the right direction? If a big life decision has to happen, what if I pick the wrong one? Or no. So I'm trying to build 3 little mantras to myself, one of which was on the wall at Mount View. Everything in its own time at the right time. Do it scared, because my options are wait until it feels comfortable, which might never happen, or feel the fear and do it anyway. So do it scared. And everything is an anecdote. Everything that I go through, even if it is the worst experience of my life, if I go for an audition and I absolutely fall flat on my face, well, at least I've got a great dinner party anecdote about it. Do you know what I mean? It's all fodder for Graham Norton. So that's where I'm at. Love to know how you are. Whack it down in the comments. Shall I see if I can get Penny to come over to sign off on the video? I can bribe her. Do you want a little? Yeah, you do. Come on. Come on. Do you want a little treat? Everyone wants to meet you. Yeah, there you go. Oh wait, you're not even on camera. Yeah. Look at her shoulders. Wow. Can you say if it's not real, it's not right? Can you say don't forget to like and subscribe? Look at them. Oh, nearly, so close. Oh, do you know what? We'll work on it.